It's just me and you, baby. Who would have thought we'd be here in the fantasy playoffs? Ladies and gentlemen, Couch Fam, these are my fantasy football rankings for week 14. This is full PPR. As far as quarterbacks go, I think the two safest options are Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson going against the Jets, Aaron Rodgers going against the Lions. Lions probably more known for their terrible run defense and how many fantasy points they allow to running backs. But with both Green Bay Packers running backs catching the ball well and using the running backs in the pass game so much, I think that it boosts Aaron Rodgers. And also the Lions, it's not like their pass defense is any good. They allow a ton of points to quarterbacks, and Aaron Rodgers is playing at an MVP caliber level this year. So, but I'm gonna rank him right here just because of the rushing upside that Kyler Murray and Josh Allen have. And I mean, it's really close, but I think that Justin Herbert is going to bounce back. I had a little bit of doubt of him last week. Rookie quarterback going against the Patriots defense. This week, it's a little bit different. We got Herbert going against the Falcons. Not quite same team, Falcons versus Patriots. So the risk is there, though. There's a little bit more risk. And you know, what I'm basically trying to say is that it's really close between all these quarterbacks here from around Justin Herbert to Tannehill up. Like, it's going to be really close. I'm ranking Tannehill lower than the consensus just because Henry could take over this game. Jags D is atrocious. So we see Corey Davis is probably going to ball out. A.J. Brown's going to ball out. And probably Henry's going to ball out too. And I just don't know if there's any need to throw the ball in the fourth quarter. Titans defense is awful. They're just not able to get it done. But against such a bad team, they might be okay. Like, I know you don't trust the Titans D. I don't either. But if you had to stream them this week, it's really not that bad of an option. You got to assume the Jags will make some mistake and the Titans D won't be horrible. So I'm just saying, basically, like, the matchup is so good for the Titans D that I would even maybe consider streaming them as a defense. Probably, to be realistic, in deeper leagues. One thing I want to talk about, Lamar Jackson, is he back or is just the Cowboys D so bad or a mixture of both? I think he's back. Just a short answer. I really do. I think that the Patriots, they're using Cam how they should use Cam. They didn't get Cam Newton and say, we're going to mold you into something you're not. Let the lion roar, right? As Cam would say. Lamar Jackson, what we just saw last week, I know the Cowboys D is horrible. Like, I'm not trying to sugarcoat that. I know Mike McCarthy made some questionable calls. I know it was just a collapse of that Cowboys team, especially on defense. But what we saw, there's no doubt about it, was the Lamar Jackson that we drafted. Well, thankfully, I only drafted him in 1 out of 14 leagues. But that's what we were expecting this year. That was 2019 Lamar Jackson. All run plays and then a bunch of wide open passes. And if Lamar Jackson is free to run and do what he does best, show off that extreme athleticism, the guy is an incredible athlete, an incredible runner. Once he shows that to the defense, and then the defense says, oh, crap. Then they got, what are they going to do, right? They're just going to let him run. Then the defense doesn't know what to do. They need to put a spy, put 2 spies, blitz. They're going to figure, like, put an extra man in the box. Once that run game is working with their 4 running backs, or 5 if you count Lamar Jackson, and Lamar Jackson's running, it opens up so much. And they played essentially without a tight end. Luke Wilson's okay, like, don't get me wrong, but he is a new addition to the team. They're missing Nick Boyle. They were missing Mark Andrews. They traded away Hayden Hurst. Now they got Now they got Mark Andrews back this week. Matchup is great, and one big factor you need to look at if you want to do your due diligence with Lamar Jackson, whether you start him or where you want to rank him, is if Denzel Ward is playing. Now, he's missed the last couple games. He's a really big part of their defense. Now, he's a talented player. I'm not going to say like he's a shutdown corner. He's just amazing like that. But when you do miss a big part of your defense, probably still their best corner, it affects the whole team. Now, Myles Garrett, he should be playing, and that's going to boost the Browns' D a lot. But if Denzel Ward is out, I'm going to boost Lamar Jackson, because that's just the type of player he is. You know, you want him to get those wide open touchdown passes. You don't want him throwing the ball 35, 40 times a game. That's not his game. And that's why it was just so great last year that it seemed like whatever they did worked. They ran the ball, they got 7 yards. They threw the ball, they got a 15-yard touchdown. They got the deep throws working. And so, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say that the Cowboys D wasn't atrocious and didn't help Lamar Jackson come back. But we're all humans here. Greg Roman's human. Harbaugh's human. Lamar Jackson's human. We know Mike McCarthy's human. But I think this game I'm talking about the Cowboys-Ravens game we just witnessed Tuesday night. I think this game really opened our eyes, not for fantasy owners and for the Ravens, that, hey, this is what we need to do to win. This is what we need to do to get in the playoffs. We got to unleash Lamar Jackson. Let him run 9, 10, 11, 12 times a game. Yes, and let him do it successfully. You mix that in with the running game, with the running backs and the creativity they got, and then you got guys like Hollywood and Mark Andrews. Maybe Miles Boykin might start emerging. Devin Duvernay of running free, getting in the end zone. I know this has been the Lamar Jackson video, but I think it was just very important to talk about. And that was just my opinion. I know you might have a different opinion, that the Cowboys defense was so horrible they allowed that to happen. But that's my opinion. I think Lamar Jackson is back. I think they realize what they need to do, and I'm confident in starting him. It's close between him and Herbert, but I'm going to put Lamar Jackson at 7, still temper expectations, but he really could be, within the top 5 this week. Let's see. I think 7 is a good spot to rank him. I still have confidence in Lamar Jackson. Okay, let's move on. Let's go to the running back position. We're seeing Tues here. First time we're seeing Tues, ladies and gentlemen. So I got the Tues going just to show that it's Derrick Henry. I'm all in. Derrick Henry, like how can this be bad against the Jaguars? Who wants to tackle him on the Jags? Maybe one player, maybe 2 players want to tackle him. I don't know, maybe 0. After that, it's pretty close. I mean, you really could even rank Chris Carson at number 2. You really could, just because the matchup is so great. When I say matchup, people think I mean literal matchup, like you're looking at rushing yards allowed, which is, a good factor, but it's just one factor. Or you're looking at running back, fantasy points allowed to running backs, or whatever the heck you're looking at. No, matchup is just in general. It includes everything. It's how good they are against running backs, how good they are against pass catching running backs, against runners. How good is their run defense? How good is how many points do they allow to the running back? And also the game script. When the Jets are always behind, that bodes well for the opposing team's running back. They're gonna run the ball. Why would you call some high risk pass plays when you have a 3 touchdown lead against the Jets? You wouldn't do that. Now the Raiders, yeah, they needed to throw the ball and whatnot because their defense is crap. Because they almost got beat by the Jets. So yeah, Derek Carr needed to throw the ball. That's because that's the Raiders D. Seahawks D is much better than the Raiders D. So yeah, that's why I really think Chris Carson could be ranked as high as number 2. Ezekiel Elliott, he probably can't be ranked as high as number 2. Just because we don't trust him quite yet. Dak Prescott's not in the lineup, so we don't trust Zeke quite yet. And the Bengals D, I feel like they're not that horrible as a unit. It's just, and as individual players, it's just that their O-line is so bad and their offense is so shaky. That hurts the whole team. They just can't do anything. And so what is the defense can't do it on their own. They're not that talented. Anyway, let's focus on these top 7. That's really what I wanted to hone in. I think Kamara could be consideration for the number 2 spot. Eckler, James Robinson, Aaron Jones for sure could be number 2, and Dalvin Cook, who I could rank as low as number 3. But because Dalvin is the clear-cut workhorse, he can catch the ball. We've seen him against the Bears, I think, in the first half. They absolutely destroyed Dalvin Cook. Like, he couldn't do anything, and he still had 8 fantasy points in that first half. So that's how good of a player Dalvin Cook is, because he can catch, because he's just so talented that you got to respect him. I think Dalvin Cook's got to be in the top 3, top 4, regardless. But these are what I'm trying to say is 2 to 7 is really close. I think I'm boosting Zeke more than I have him 2 spots ahead of the consensus. So I do like Zeke, but just I can't put him in my top 7. So yeah, it's number 1 Derrick Henry, and then 2 through 7 is going to be really close for running backs. Other guys I really like is Montgomery. Seems like everyone likes Gaskin. I have him ranked way lower than most people just because of the game script probably. But I still like Gaskin. And let's talk about these 3 or 4 more running backs I really wanted to talk about. So James Conner with the Steelers O-line looking like they're getting more healthy, and James Conner back, I think that I'm willing to risk it and start James Conner. Now, only thing you've got to really look at is if his positive test really did affect him. Did he lose weight? Was he really sick? The vibe I'm getting, and it's pretty much just a guess, is that he did okay with this positive test and being on that special reserve list. He was all right, but it's something to definitely monitor. Will they limit him? Is he tired? Is he really sick? Some people are asymptomatic. Some people, it's pretty much nothing to them, while others, they were really sick for 1 day or really sick for a week or 5 days. You just never know. And so that's definitely something to look at. And if I'd say he was really ill during his time on that special reserve list, then he's likely going to be limited. And I would move him down, let's say, right around where these guys are, right around here, around where Miles Sanders is. So this is where I would put him. But if he was like, hey, I was asymptomatic, it's nothing, coach, I'm feeling good, we got to get back on track and win this game, then, because the Steelers are trying to play for that bye week, like they need to win games, then, I would put him right here. I think the Bills is a good matchup, and the Steelers run game should be back, hopefully. But that's tough. Only reason I don't have Mostert higher is because Shanahan, he really screws over running backs in fantasy. And then we got McKissick, who can do really well. I think he can sneak into the top 10 this week with his pass catching ability. He really could. I don't think the matchup is that great, though. I think the Niners are gonna know how to stop or at least contain Alex Smith in that offense. Not a high octane, explosive offense. They don't score a lot of touchdowns, and that's why I'm tempering expectations with McKissick just a little bit. I still really like him though, especially in PPR. And then we got Gio Bernard. I do see him bouncing back this game. I know the Bengals don't have a good quarterback, but still, it's the Cowboys defense with his pass catching ability. He's got to score double-digit points. That's just how I see it. And then we got Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who I did want to talk about. Now, Helaire he's got a good matchup. I think he's going to do well. But because there's Le'Veon Bell and Darrell Williams there, you just got to temper expectations. I think now this is tough. This is a really tough one because I think the Dolphins, it's pretty well known. I think the Dolphins have realized by watching teams like the Bucks and who the heck did the Chiefs just play? The Broncos. What to do. You have to stop the pass game. You have to stop the big plays in the pass game. That's what kills you faster, right? Wouldn't you rather suffer a slower death and keep the game close than just to lose right away in the first quarter or any given quarter against Mahomes? Mahomes is the best quarterback we've probably ever seen play the game. Now, there's different eras, so that's very arguable. That's fine. But I'm just making a point here that Mahomes is very, very special. And you allow that guy, not even a full, he can win a game in 7 minutes, in 11 minutes. That's how insane he is. He can throw 3 touchdowns like that. And so you want to stop that. I think the Dolphins focus on putting pressure on Mahomes, telling the edge rushers, the linemen, look, just pressure Mahomes. Don't worry about any weird plays. Put pressure on him and also stop the pass game. I think they'll dedicate all their troops, all their efforts to stop the pass game. I think this will open up a lot of opportunities for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Now, it's just tough for me. Like that's what I believe, but maybe that's an 80% chance it's going to happen. Maybe it happens and then they switch game plans at halftime. I just don't know. The trust in Clyde has gone down, and it's not just because I'm emotional and he gave fantasy owners a 0 last week. That's not the case. I think, some of you lost and didn't make playoffs because of it, and I get that's bad. It's tragic. I get that. But I think that's going to bode well for this week. I think he's going to be even more fully rested. And I see him getting a large amount of the snaps and the workload. And I think there should be plenty of opportunities for him. It's just going to be, honestly, I would start him over Drake. I would do that. It's just so hard to rank him any higher. It really is. Like, Mostert and Ronald Jones got to go higher than him. Maybe you hate Connor. I get that. But these guys got to be higher. McKissick, I would rank higher. And then these 3 right here, maybe I could put Clyde ahead of them. But it's just really tough. Because Gio is a workhorse. Yes, he's a real workhorse, even though he sucks. Melvin Gordon can't really be trusted. But he is there. Jonathan Taylor, oh man, he's in a committee too. I got him ranked 7 spots lower than the consensus. So with Clyde, look, I snuck him into my top 20, but that's about as high as I can go, I think. Yeah, it really is. And one other guy I want to talk about really quick is if Josh Jacobs is out, I'm still going to ride the Devontae Booker hype train. Again, That's fine if the train crashes 2 weeks in a row. Hey, I'm all aboard the Booker hype train. The matchup isn't as good, but Booker's done well in the past. He can catch, he can run, and I'm still going to, even though this has been a crazy year where everything we expected is not panned out. I think that when a starting running back is injured, I still believe his backup running back can produce nearly as good as the starter did. It's been proven for several years. It's just not proven this year for some reason. It's not been happening. We saw it with Duke Johnson, and now we're seeing it with Gio Bernard. But this has remained the same 80 to 90% of the time. And so I'm still going, with the amount of snaps Booker's going to get, I'm not going to resist and bench him. I think he's still a decent RB2 or a flex start for you. I got him in my top 24. Might even put him ahead of Miles Sanders. Like, the trust for Miles Sanders is quite low. I got him 22 though, so that's not horrible. For wide receivers, I love both the Seahawks wide receivers. I also think Devontae Adams. Should we add that to make the same thing? Yeah, let's do that. Put Devontae Adams in a tier of his own. How do we? Come on, bro. Come on. There we go. Devontae Adams in a tier of his own. He's just incredible. He can do everything, and he gets touchdowns. And he's going against the Lions. What are they gonna do? Let's try to stop him. Come on. Come on, Lions. What are you guys doing? Why are you guys trying to win games now? What's going on here? And after that, yeah, there's just a ton of elite options. I love all these guys. I love Ridley, Lockett, Diggs, Hopkins, A-Rob, Keenan Allen, DK, Tyreek Hill. I love all these guys here. Julio Jones didn't practice today. Robbie Anderson should be getting a lot of targets with DJ Moore out. Let's see who else is out for the Panthers. Well, Christian McCaffrey's doubtful. On top of that, as you guys already knew that, I'm sure. Deebo Samuel nursing a bruised foot, so keep tabs on that. And yeah, let's go to tight ends. I love both these guys right here, Kelsey and Waller, of course, two super elite options. And then it's nearly a tie between Hawkinson and Andrews. I think Hunter Henry is going to get a good amount of targets, so he'll be here. And Evan Ingram is probably better with Daniel Jones, I'd assume. I assume Daniel Jones is better than Colt McCoy. So if Daniel Jones is out, we got Evan Ingram at 7. If Daniel Jones is in, let's put Evan Ingram at 6. And yeah, Logan Thomas, I'm a believer. I don't know if you are, but I'm a believer in him. And then, of course, it's just a big old crapshoot of what's going on. Jonnu Smith is back. What else do I got to talk about? Robert Tonyan, I continue to disrespect him, but I think 12 is good. And I like Mike Gesicki this week because I think the Chiefs are, the Dolphins are going to need to throw the ball a little bit. Okay, for defenses, my two elite options are the Seahawks and Saints, and then after that, it's sort of a crapshoot. Number 3, I could put the Niners here. I could put the Ravens here. I could put Washington here, the Chiefs. I could put the Packers here. I'm gonna actually move them up. The Cardinals I could move up there. Easy. Yeah, the Cardinals could really be my number 3 ranked defense. I like them a lot this week, like a lot. Like they're really good. Man, it's really tough to rank that. We'll see. I'm excited for this Ravens-Browns game. I really am. I want to see what Lamar Jackson can do. And for kickers, it's Younghoe Koo in the bunch. I love Blankenship this week. It's if you watch my waiver video, it's gonna be really difficult to pick a kicker this week. Just how it's lined up is the ones with the best matchups we don't trust much, like Gostkowski and Blankenship, and the ones we do trust and are really good don't have great matchups, or they just score touchdowns like the Packers. So good luck with kickers this week. I myself did drop Jason Sanders in one league where I don't want to keep two kickers, and I think I added Gostkowski. I don't think Blankenship was available, so I'm doing it. I know Sanders is the most accurate kicker. I love him. Huge fan. He's the number 2 kicker in fantasy so far as points, fantasy points. And look, I like him, but I'm not using him this week, and I'm probably not using him next week. I think the Dolphins face the Patriots week 15, so I'd much rather prefer Blankenship or Gostkowski. Gostkowski's like a streaky shooter, right? He's crazy. He's like Klay Thompson out there, man. He can go off and get you 15 fantasy points, 11 fantasy points, or he can get you 2 or 3. And I think that's cool. I think increasing your upside a little bit this week is worth it. We're all facing tough opponents and need the most points. So yeah, it's basically me over analyzing kickers, but I don't know. I feel bad for not having like that hammer kicker. Like, get this guy, he's gonna ball out. Just none this week. Out of 14 weeks of doing this, this is the only week where I'm like that. Like, look, it's gonna be tough to pick a kicker. Like, it really is. Yeah, that's just the truth. If you don't have Yanueku. All right, guys, make sure you subscribe to both YouTube channels, Fantasy Couch and Fantasy Couch Podcast. Link below in the description and pinned comment for these updated written rankings. I have the whole thing available for you guys. Website is easy to remember, fantasycouch.com. So go to the description, click on the link or the pinned comment, or just go to fantasycouch.com and find it. My updated written rankings. I will be updating them up until Sunday kickoff when they lock for sure. All right, guys, good luck this week. Go get that W.